Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me, the car edition. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys are ready to get this day started. I hope you're ready to get this Friday started. It's going to be an amazing day. So let's go be great. How about that? I hope you guys are sharing the show because sharing is caring. I hope you caught the show on yesterday because we went over some good stuff. Great morning, Miss Valley. How are you? We talked about the ego and being the judgmentalness of yourself. And nobody told me if I made that word up or not. Did I make that word up? The judgmentalness of yourself? No. So, your ego and the judgmentalness of yourself was yesterday's Fearless Thought. So, please make sure you go back and watch it. And if your friends and family do not have Facebook, we do have a YouTube channel where you can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. So let's start the day off with a quote of the day. The world is round, and the place which may seem like the end may also be only the beginning. And that's Ivor Baker Priest. The world is round, and the place which may seem like the end may also be only the beginning. The world is round. And sometimes what we think is the end is truly the beginning. Because we've all had those end of the world moments. Like yesterday, we thought the world was truly going to come to an end because we didn't have the answer or we didn't know what to do. But then you woke up the next morning and all was well. That's why I love that quote. The world is round, and the place which may seem like the end may also be only the beginning. Ivy Baker Priest. Hooray. Hey, is this your parking space?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
So sorry.
That's okay, dear. That's the quote. Let me move. Because somebody had my normal parking space. So I have to move into somebody else's. That's all right. We're just going to pull. We'll just keep pulling forward until we can't pull.
There's nowhere else to go.
Until there's nowhere else to go.
I'm getting out of the car.
Okay. Have a good day. So the fearless thought of the day. Hand me that. The fearless thought of the day is the conclusion is it's achievable. At the end, it's achievable. It is. You can do it. It is achievable. This is not the end. This is the beginning. And the very thing that is frustrating you or that you don't understand or that you don't have the answers to or that you are longing or, and you are toiling for, it is achievable. It is. That's the conclusion. Ta-da, the end, it is achievable. Now, what makes it unachievable is our inability to perhaps be focused, dedicated, and disciplined. Have a great day. Be peaceful to make that happen. So what we want to accomplish is absolutely achievable. But what are we doing to make that happen? So, which brings me to the next question. Understanding your fear. So, if the world is round and what may seem like the end is only the beginning, and at the end of the day, everything is achievable, we've got to understand our fear around why we assume it's not achievable. Okay? So confessions, this is, we're always going to do my confessions and conversations, is sometimes we are afraid because fear is wrapped up in the unknown, right? And if you are a Miss Know-It-All, and I'm trying to be a reformed Miss Know-It-All where it's not as great as it used to be, where I have to know everything, that is one of the great sources of fear. is that we don't know the answer to the thing that we want to accomplish, or we don't know how to do the thing that we want to do. We just don't know how. And so that brings about fear and anxiety, because be peaceful, baby. Love you. Have a great day. It brings about anxiety and stress because we don't know. So we have to understand our fear. And so if y'all with me yesterday, you saw how I broke down my ego and how I talked it out. And so with the fear, is the same thing. Before I say I'm afraid and that I can't do it, I try to break it down like JoJo. So what are you really afraid of? Are you scared that you won't know the answers? Are you scared that somebody knows the answers and you don't? Because if you're a Miss Know-It-All, that's a problem. People knowing something, and then because I'm the person, I want to know all the things right now. When I start a new job, I hate the learning curve of starting a new job. I want to know as much as the person that's been there forever. And if I can't know it like they know it, I get frustrated. So that's my issue with that. And I'm working on being reformed with a Miss Know-It-All. But we got to understand our fear. And we're understanding the reason why we may be afraid of a thing. It may help us understand how we need to move forward with the thing. So if I can understand my fear, if I can understand, JoJo, you're scared, you really want to open up this bookstore, but you're scared to open up because you've never run a bookstore before. Well, technically, JoJo, that's not true. You might have been a kid, but you ran a bookstore for the entire neighborhood. People could come check out books from your house, the system that you set up as a kid under the age of 12. So you know what to do. It's just that you have the mindset, well, JoJo, you were a kid, then you didn't really know, but I didn't have any inhibitions or any fear. I didn't have that self-imposed restrictions of I can't achieve anything either. Who instills that in us? Who does that to us? Who instills in us that we can't achieve or do? Who does that? Because I had no concept of that. So if I'm afraid to open up a bookstore, and I can say and I can't say I don't have a context. I can say I don't have the money. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in a different place. I'm older. But what else is my fear? My fear of saying that I want to do it and then it never happening. Or the fear I say I want to do it and I try and it doesn't work. The fear of me doing it and it becomes a great success, but now am I tied to the bookstore? So we got to understand our fear. Then we can walk out what we need to accomplish, and it can point us in the right direction of what we need to do. So everything is achievable. That's the conclusion. You can do what you want to do. It is achievable. The world is round, and the place where you are right now may seem like the end, but it may actually be only the beginning. I have had so many life-ending situations where the world was going to come to an end right now, not a second later. Right now, the world's going to come to an end because I didn't have food right now. I didn't have gas right now. And we remember we talked about knowing the difference between what's urgent and what's important. And the principles of priority, know the difference between the two, and then do what's important first. And that's a hard place to be. It's a hard place. It's a hard place to be. Thank you, Miss Valerie. It's a hard place to be, and it's hard to swallow there. It's hard to move past there. It's hard to explain to somebody who's never been there how you're there and you don't know the way out, or how you there and you're continuing to go through, or how you there but you don't have the answers, but you know the conclusion is it's achievable. Like, I don't know how I'm going to make the bookstore happen, but I know it's going to happen. I'm going to do this retreat in August with Miss Margaret. I know that's going to happen. I know that we're going to do the book signing tour. And then sometimes, and this is confessions for me, we get caught up, I know I do, in the details. And so because we get so caught up in the details, they can often stop us. And this is where your purpose partners come in to place. Because Margaret, Valerie, Jasmine, I have some great purpose partners who help me get past the small moving things that may hinder us from being the great thing that is meant to be. So the earth is round, the world is round, and what you may think is the end is only the beginning. And the conclusion is, it is achievable. It is. I mean, you achieve things every day that you thought you could not do. How many of us are in a job that we never assumed we were going to be in, but you may like it, you may not like it, you may love it, you may not love it, but it's achievable every day. You raise children every day, a family, a husband, a wife. You pay the bills. You make sure everybody gets to where they need to be and safely. You achieve things every day. So just stick that in there with it. I think sometimes we make everything so lofty and so outrageously inconceivable. I think we do that on purpose. We do that on purpose so that then we can say, oh, it's so big, I can't do it. It's overwhelming, I can't do it. It is achievable. We do that on purpose, so then we don't have to really do the work of it. It can always stay a goal, a future goal, and I can always put it off. But if I look at my lofty goal and I can break it down into actionable steps, then it becomes something what? The conclusion is it's all achievable. It's something I can achieve. So then we have to go with, if I have this big lofty goal and I keep looking at it and I never work towards it, what am I afraid of it for? Why do I have it if I'm going to fear it? So that's a good question. Confessions and conversations about your everyday life with the Only Live Past Crazy special. So what better place to be than here with me? The world is round, and the place which may seem like the end may only be the beginning. And that's by Ivy Baker Priest. And I love that quote because I've had a gazillion life-stopping things, like the world is going to end right now. But at the end of the day, everything is achievable. It is. And if you release yourself from your self-imposed restrictions, if you release yourself from thinking that you don't know, if you release yourself from all of that, right, Miss Valerie, one bite at a time, one ear at a time, my friend, one ear at a time. Everything is achievable. I'll tell you what helps me. And then of course we've got to understand our fears. And then for me, if you talk your fear out loud, if you say it out, like I can't be the only person that talk to themselves. I may talk to myself out loud like I really do. When I'm in the car on the way to work, I talk to myself out like, JoJo, really, what are you scared of? What could you possibly be afraid of? Well, and then I'll say, well, JoJo, there's a whole host of things I could be afraid of. But once I say the fear out loud, then it puts it in a different perspective and this is just me, it puts it in a different perspective for me, as in, really, you scared of that? Come on now, give me something else to be afraid of. What are you really scared of? And once you start putting things in perspective, then the next thought is, the conclusion is, it's achievable. Then you know that you can do the thing. It can work. It's not like it's not going to work. It can absolutely work. But are you willing to do the work to make it work? To make it achievable? That's the problem. Everything is achievable. It's just, are we willing to do it to make it happen? The world is round, and what may seem like the end is only the beginning. And then understand your fears. Understand where they're coming from. And are they self-imposed fears? Like, are they there not on purpose? So if you guys have been with the Fearless Morning Show for a while, you know how I had to break through of getting over my fear of flying and my fear of water. If you've never read the book, The Untethered Soul, please read that book, The Untethered Soul. And I came across this paragraph while I was waiting for a flight from Texas. I was in Austin. I was at the airport. My stomach was hurting. I had already threw up, and I was waiting to throw up again, trying to get it all out before I got on the plane. Hey, because I'm afraid of flying. In this paragraph, the guy said, what is your fear? What are you most afraid of? So I'm talking to myself in the airport as I read. Well, right now, I'm afraid of flying. Why? Because I'm not in control. Why? Because I'm in the air and I'm hoping this piece of metal can stay up there by itself for that long period of time. And then the next question was, where did this fear come from? And so the paragraph goes on to say, sometimes our fears are projected onto us and we inherit them. So my mother's mother was afraid of flying. So she made my mother afraid of flying, who made me afraid of flying, who I was then passing along to my children who are afraid of flying. And when I got that, I was like, so you mean to tell me I don't even know why I'm afraid of flying? I'm afraid because my mama's mama was afraid. And so because of that, I'm making my children afraid. And we've never even tried. And when I tell y'all, the light bulb went off and I got on that plane and I slept like a little baby all the way back to North Carolina. Like snoring sleep. Went to sleep. And then from that day, I was bound and determined to get the girls on a flight. So we went to California. And I told them the story of, you're not going to inherit my fears. So how many of us are passing fears down to our children unknowingly, unspokenly? They're not going to inherit any of my fears. So then that takes me back to understanding your fears. Okay. Knowing everything is accomplishable. You can do it. And that the world is round. And what may seem like the end is truly only the beginning. And a lot of people say, JoJo, you just make it so complicated. It's not, if you think about it, it's not complicated. Or they say it's so much work, it doesn't require that. It may not require that for you. All I'm simply saying is I'm giving you some ideas to perhaps help you think differently, so you can take what you need and apply it, and what you don't, you leave it here. Or if you need to share it with your sister or your brother or somebody, you take it and you share it with them, and hopefully it can help the next person. You got to do what works for you. But at the end of the day, there's some truths I want you to know. The earth is round, and what may seem like the end is the beginning. What you want to accomplish is you can accomplish it, period. And that you've got to understand your fears. Those are fundamental basics. Like if you don't understand why you're afraid, then it's going to make it harder to achieve that thing. It's going to make it harder to work past that. So, I'm just saying. You got to think about that. On this Fearless Friday, this Freedom Friday, I want you to think about that. What are you really afraid of? So, guys, this July 27th, I will be in Tampa. It's my first trip for my book signing tour. Go to bit.ly Tampa Crazy to pre-order your book so that it can be there and I can sign it for you. And if you want me to come to your city, just send me a message so that I can add you to the list. If your friends and family do not have Facebook, please let them know there is a YouTube channel and they can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows from over there. And you can share them as well. Hey, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. And make sure you share it with somebody who may need to know how to live past crazy. And on this Freedom Friday, Fearless Friday, know that the earth is round. And what may seem like the end truly is the beginning. You can accomplish the thing that you want to. But you've got to understand your fear to make that happen. And you got to be willing to understand your fear. If you're not willing to understand it, it will eat you. And it will consume you. And then your whole life is going to be built around the fear of the unknown. And fear sometimes is just simply the unknown. And then this day and age, we lack knowledge on purpose. Because the great thing of the internet and Google and books, and there's still the library. Everything that you need to know is out there. So we can't say we don't know. We just can say we may not be willing to look for the answer for the things that we want to know. Because as long as I can say I don't know, I don't have to do. Right? As long as I can say I have no idea how to accomplish that, then That's going to be my excuse, and that's what's going to hinder me or stop me from achieving the thing that I need to do. So at the end of the day, the conclusion is you can achieve it if you're willing to understand your fear and know that right now it may seem like the end of the world, but I promise it's truly a beginning. It really is. And that was hard for me to accept in the beginning too. And that's okay. You just gotta, it just takes a slither of a second for you to be like, what if, and maybe, and when you have that thought, my friend, then it gets a little easier. I promise. I hope you guys have an amazing Friday. If you have any questions for me, or if there's any topic you want me to include, send me a message, or you can go over to livepastcrazy.com, and there's a place to contact us, and you can send a message there as well. This is your safe place, so whatever you share, it only stays with me and no one else. So if you choose not to share, if you choose just to use this information for yourself, I hope it has helped somebody, because I am my sister's keeper. It is that easy, yet that complicated. And if we can help one person, one gentleman, one man, period, we will change the world. All right, guys, be safe. I will see you here bright and early on Monday morning. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. I hope you have a truly amazing Mother's Day. Know that you are blessed, even though you may feel frustrated, angry, and think life is insane and it's not going to get any better. You created a whole human, and you delivered an entire human. And now that this human is here, you are directing their life for the betterment of them and the whole world as a society. So, sister, you are amazing. You are a creator at your core. So go out and create this weekend. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.